What would you say is the biggest difference before and after the challenge?
I have to say my stance. My stance was absolutely horrible at the beginning.
What changed in your stance?
I wasn't on my toes. I wasn't having to take a break every 15 seconds because my knees were killing me. I was able to see the ball better because I was able to get lower, and it just makes it easier to receive.
The biggest change in Creighton to me is his confidence. That field 2 weeks ago was his field for being 2,500 miles away. Yeah, I refer to you as one of Creighton's coaches because that's what you are.
So, how it'll work, I'll just ask you some questions, how you found out about me, how you found out about the 4-week challenge, what challenges you were running into before, and then what the process was like, what it was like after. You guys were there from the very beginning, right? You guys found Cruz and I on TikTok right from the very beginning.
Yeah, obviously with my job, I swore up and down I was never going to get TikTok, but I'm finding more and more real estate agents using it. So I'm like, okay, well, let me go where the big sport kills are. So started that, and your stance is garbage, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
And that just caught me. And then, of course, the second one, your transfer is trash.
Yeah.
So just definitely took off from there.
Some of the originals. And then you guys came to the TikTok lives every week, basically since we've started it, which has been awesome. So it feels like we know each other through the TikTok live in the chat and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like I sent that message to you in the communities. As a public figure, you need to be able to keep your private life private, and you need to be selective as to who you share certain things with. So I was like, if you want to share pictures of your daughter, great. If not, hey, completely understand it. But yeah, for being 2,500 miles away, yeah, I refer to you as one of Creighton's coaches because that's what you are.
Isn't that crazy? That's so cool. The internet is wild, man. Okay, so you guys came along very early. You were there for like my first TikTok videos and then all the TikTok lives and stuff. And then tell me about the 4-week challenge. Did you just hear about it from the email that I sent out?
Yeah.
I love it. Creighton, when you think about some of the big challenges you've been running into as a catcher defensively, what have been some of those big things?
Before this 4-week challenge thing, it was my blocking, my stance. Those were the hardest things for me to grasp of how to do it properly.
So, I love it. What about blocking was so difficult for you?
Well, like one of my big things was watching the ball in and like trying to block it back to the proper spot and getting around the ball. So mainly all of blocking.
Blocking. I love it. Okay. And then what about for your stance? What was challenging there?
Being on my toes and like pointing out, and then just being in a 180 towards the beginning of the 4-week challenge with my right foot so far back. My grandfather decided to just take that out of nowhere, start saying it's the right thing.
Yeah, catching has changed so much just in the past 5 years. It's pretty crazy to look at what was best practice even 2 years ago may not be best practice anymore. So it is pretty wild. You gotta stay up to date with everything. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what your experience was like in the 4-week challenge. What was the structure like? What did you learn? What stuck out to you?
Probably what stuck out to me the most, not like stance or anything like that, like the mental part, was learning how important journaling was.
Had you ever journaled before?
No.
No, you hadn't ever journaled before.
No,
okay.
Before the 4-week challenge, I started 2 days before it.
Okay. And by the end, did you journal every day?
I tried. I think I missed,
or because you were sick
3 days out of the
so.
Entire thing with journaling.
That's right. Out of the 30 days of the 28 days of the challenge and the 2 days before, you did probably 26 days?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And did you do it all in one notebook?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what that's like to have that stack of papers reflecting on what you've done well and what you need to do better. What is that like? What does that do for you?
It helps me remember what I did well. If one game I have an off day because I cannot get the mechanics down, but I don't know what type of mechanics I'm doing wrong, this certain part, I can go back to my journal and then see what I did wrong in that day because I did it well in the past.
And another question, has you ever videoed yourself before the 4-week challenge?
A few times.
A few times. But did you know what to look for?
And it was mainly hitting.
Yeah.
Hitting.
Because really the catching thing really only started right around this time last year when he got into rec ball, because right now we're going into rec ball season, there were two catchers. Well, there was one catcher on the team who obviously would catch him when he pitched, but when the other catcher would pitch, he would be the only one who could ultimately catch him. So really that thrusted him into the, okay, I got to be able to learn how to catch here pretty soon. And I think from there, just fell in love with it.
That's awesome. So how long have you been catching now?
Year, maybe.
Not
Year.
even a full year.
That's awesome. That is great. And how old are you again?
11.
11. So again, I'm not sure how much of my story that you know, but I transitioned from an infielder to a catcher my junior year of college. So I actually only caught for 18 months. And so I had to learn all of the phases of catching in less than that if I wanted to play. And when I hear that you're 11, I'm like, oh my gosh, you have so much time to learn all this stuff.
Yeah.
But if you learn it quickly, right? Like you learned a lot of the fundamentals in the 4-week challenge. It's crazy how fast you can grow in a short period of time, right? And so then you stretch that out over the next 7 years for you till you're 18. If you want to keep catching, you're going to have a really good shot at going to do it if you know what to work on and put in the work. It's awesome, dude. Okay, so tell me about how well were you able to like diagnose what was going on in your stances, receiving, blocking, throwing before compared to after? Were you able to pick apart the video and really look at, okay, I need to do this better, I need to do that better after we do the challenge?
Yeah, but most of that was your feedback on the videos that helped me the most of what you were saying I need to work on that you saw in the videos. So I think the feedback was more helpful than looking back at the videos. Like I would look at the videos and then look at your feedback.
So here's a question for both of you guys that I'm curious about. Do you think if you just had the videos, would it have been the same experience?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no.
No.
I was not finished.
Okay.
No.
Well, yeah, but no, that's definitely a no-brainer. I would say by the end of the given week, day 4, day 5, day 6, he would do his videos. Like, no, I hold on, I got to redo that because in my stance, I got to bring my right foot forward, or I've got to get my hips lower, like that. He, like you said, he would self-diagnose just based off of the feedback that went along with the videos.
That's so awesome. So do you think the videos would have been valuable in and of themselves, or do you think it wouldn't necessarily help as much if you don't have the feedback?
It wouldn't help as much, but it would help a little bit.
Would help a little bit. Cool. That's what
you aren't able to look back without any videos.
We talked about a few mental models, right? We talked about like feedback loops and the inversion principle. Yeah. When we say feedback loops, what does that mean to you?
How you did with what you just played, what you did well, and what you need to improve on. That one video that we all did on the call, and you talked about the loop, and I wrote it down, and I have it in a notebook up there in one of the other rooms, and I wrote down what you said it means.
That's great. Basically, the feedback loop, right, is it's how quickly can we look at what we're doing, learn from it, and then implement the changes that we need. Yeah. And there were really like 3 main feedback loops that we had in the challenge. One was you journaling, right? Because you would go, well, better how. A second one was when you would watch yourself on video, and then you would just naturally correct yourself because you'd watch it and you'd be like, oh, wait, I need to do that. And then the third one was the feedback from me. And then if you're getting that every day, then sounds like that was really helpful for you. You guys are father-son. Were you guys doing the drills together every day, or were you doing it by yourself? Creighton, tell me about that.
The blocking drills I did with my mom, actually, because she went to the gym with me and my grandfather.
Nice.
And my grandfather, he thinks he knows everything. He does not teach the fundamentals correctly. So she stayed after, and then we did the drills that you told us to. And then the other ones I did by myself.
Nice.
He helped a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah, like stances or anything where a partner was not necessary. I think stance-wise, I did the videos and helped. Hey, you need to put your foot back. Don't mind the ducks, that thing. And then for receiving, I think he actually did on his own.
Nice.
Set the camera on the ring light.
Yep.
I happened to get busy for blocking week, so that's where my wife stepped in.
Well, thank you. It's been awesome getting to work more hands-on with you guys because it's been so much through social media, right? So it's been fun to see your faces and see your video and give you feedback and stuff there. What do you think about in terms of like resources? What resources did you need in order to actually do the 4-week challenge?
A ball in my guards.
A ball in your shin guards. That's pretty much it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe someone to throw a ball.
Could actually. I have a net outside that throws the ball back, so technically I didn't even need someone.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Tell me a little bit about who else do you think would be a good fit to do the 4-week challenge? Like, who would you recommend? What type of catcher? What age? What skill level?
My initial gut is 10 and above, but I think once they start getting to kid pitch, once they graduate from coach pitch, I think you're never too young to start learning the fundamentals. I think the thing that is probably the most positive from this 4-week challenge that I, as an observer, pulled from is the material was presented in such a way that a 7-year-old grasped it and was able to do the work. And you've got a 17-year-old who is vying for a varsity spot, which is awesome. So really, I think there is no age. If they're interested in being a catcher, they need to take this course. Like what I said to you with him catching last weekend, he blew my expectations out of the water. I mean, that was his first at his age, high level catching job. And I think had he not started with the stance and then progressed to receiving and then progressed to blocking, I mean, his throws were really good, the ones that he did, despite the fact that he wasn't able to work the throws because he did have that foundation that he worked on. So yeah, long answer to a short question. Anybody who's interested in catching, I think needs to take it. But I think from 10, 11, 12 on, I think they're going to be the ones by that age. They're going to be more positionally sound. They're going to know, I want to be a catcher. I am the catcher versus 7, 8-year-old where the coach is just jumbling people around to put a body.
Right. Right. Tristan's a little bit of an outlier as a 7-year-old for someone who can focus and is actually really athletic and controls his body really well. But a lot of times those young kids, they can't control their body. I do think that's interesting insight in terms of like 10 and up, because then they're more bought into the position. And if they're catching, they probably have gear. They're probably playing it on the field. So that makes a lot of sense. That's really good feedback. So you had sent in a message to me that you were like, I can totally see why you lay it out the way that you do. Can you touch on that real quick?
Kind of like what I said with how he caught for his first tournament 2 weekends ago. The fact that he had a very solid foundation of a good stance, what a good stance looks like. And then followed that up with how to properly receive the ball, follow that up with proper blocking. And again, like I said, even having 3 out of the 4 weeks done on a consistent basis, even allowed his throwing to be at a higher quality because he did have the other 3 foundations set. Everything is progressional. You start with a stance. If you don't have a good stance, you're not going to receive the ball well. You're not going to throw the ball well. You sure aren't going to block the ball well. Everything is progressional. And there is a reason why you start with the stance, you move on to receiving, you go into blocking, and then throwing.
Yeah, man, that's so good. Okay, so Creighton, last question here for you, my man. What would you say is the biggest difference before and after the challenge?
I have to say my stance. My stance was absolutely horrible at the beginning.
What changed in your stance?
I wasn't on my toes. I wasn't having to take a break every 15 seconds because my knees were killing me. I was able to see the ball better because I was able to get lower, and it just makes it easier to receive.
Yeah, gosh, that's so good, man. Okay, I know I said last question, but I do have one more question on that. Now that you've gone through it, what's the next big thing that you need help with? Is it mobility?
Mobility.
Is it mobility?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say once you get your mobility down, what happens next? What then do you need help with?
Strength, probably.
Strength? Yeah. A lot of the basic controlling your body type stuff. That's awesome. Cool. I put together a little mobility video that's on YouTube. That's 6 minutes. If you've checked that out, I'm going to try to make some more stuff on that too. And then Tony, from your perspective, what do you think is the biggest difference before and after with Creighton, and even with your understanding of how to help coach him and help him?
There's definitely a reason why I was never played catcher. You can sit there and you watch it on TV all day long and you're like, oh, okay, he's back there catching. Not a big deal. Yeah, no. The biggest change in Creighton to me is his confidence. That field 2 weeks ago was his field. And close to the end of fall, I think it was, we went and asked the most knowledgeable coach, why is Cray not catching? And mobility was his number one thing. He's just not able to get to the ball well, but he keeps working. He works really hard in the offseason. He'll definitely get there and he'll be one of our considerations. Went up to him right before the championship game and said, hey, I really want to say thank you for the time that you put in with him, the confidence that you've shown him. It's really come a long way. And his first words were, hey, he's done all the hard work. That plate is his until it's not. And any athlete can obviously attest to the fact that when his coach says that position is yours, that's like the epitome of the coach saying, you're on your own. You've earned it. And so when we told him that, his confidence even took an even higher step in my eyes. We went on to the championship game and he finally got his first championship ring, and to go with his runner-up rings collections that he's been getting. Yeah, his confidence was just amazing. My not having the knowledge of the mechanics, I'm more of the mental aspect of things. So I'm always reminding him, hey, go on the field and off the field with your pitcher. Sit with your pitcher. Hey, this guy struck out for the 4th time. Go talk to him, get him up, get him pumped up. So really trying to get him to embrace the leadership that comes with being a catcher as
Didn't
well.
you only have to tell me that like twice. The
Yep.
entire weekend?
Yeah. And then you started recognizing opportunities for you to jump in and get people pumped up and motivated and everything.
Yeah, that's a feedback loop right there, man. And if you can keep stacking those on top of each other, it's crazy how quickly you can get better. Well, man, that is awesome. Thank you, you guys. Do you have any feedback for me on like what could have made it better?
No, but I actually do have one request. Are you gonna maybe do another 4-week challenge thing?
I am.
Could you maybe get in touch with Aaron Antonini, I think is his name,
Yeah.
who that is?
Yeah, I know. I've talked to him a little bit. He's cool.
I say he would be helpful with the 4-week challenge. Because he's
Yeah.
just like you. Stance was his number one thing in most of his videos. If you don't have a stance, your knees are gonna hurt. Everything's gonna hurt.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. And the mobility is such a key piece of that.
Yeah.
I love it. Do you have any feedback, Tony?
I thought it was great. I know there were the meetings, obviously due to the time, there were some nights where 8 o'clock was a day or something and he would just be zonked out. There were a couple that actually pulled him out of bed and I'm like, no, you need to come on this one. And so but hey, that's time zone. That is nothing anybody can do there. I thought it was great. I could not have imagined this going any smoother, any better than the way you did it.
Well, thank you so much, you guys. You guys are good with me posting this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So-
just cut out from this point on.
Come on, you're a good looking guy. That's your job, right? Isn't that your thing? You're trying to get more on camera?
I'm trying to.
Have you done it yet?
Given everything, it just really hadn't had a time to really sink a whole lot of energy into it, but
Yeah.
it'll get there when it gets there.
Yeah. Well, my full-time job, I'm a digital sales and marketing coach. And I may have told you this, but the framework that we teach out of is called They Ask, You Answer.
Mhm.
And it's literally as simple as that is. It's like, hey, what questions do people ask in the sales process? Like, go create content on that and answer them.
Right. Yeah.
But for what you're doing, I would imagine that would be incredibly helpful too. I mean, I'm curious who else is really doing that. And if there's not that many people truly answering the questions that buyers are asking them, that's a great way for you to get business.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of loan officers out there getting into it, but there's 2 that I follow. And that's the thing I love about my industry is the really good ones are really helpful. And they don't care if you sit there and you mimic some of their stuff or whatever. And I'm constantly sharing on Facebook some of the stuff that this other person posts. But yeah, we all learn from one another. And that's really how the world should be going. We just all look out for one another. Not everything has to be a competition. There's plenty of room at the finish line for all of us. So let's all get there.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Great. And if you have any questions, you got my contact info in that chat and you got my email. So let me know, man.
Okay.
All right.
Definitely appreciate you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I appreciate you guys too. You guys have been there from the beginning and are some of the real ones. So I appreciate you guys a lot.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. And you guys have a great rest of your night. Thanks for hopping on
Thanks.
with me.
You
Thank
too.
you. You too.
All right. Bye.